right, we'll get started. My name is Susan Hughes. I work at Kennesaw State University with the National Hybrid Schools Project and the Hybrid Schools Society. Thank you for coming. So this is I've heard Pecha Kucha, I've heard PechaKucha, I hear all sorts of things, but this is a very fun, this is light, maybe not for the presenters, but for us, it's a different presentation style. If you Google it, it's super fun. So, and it's maybe something you could introduce in your schools. So it's 20 slides, 20 seconds per slide, images only on the slides. That way, you see an image and you're listening to the person talk. Because how many times and I'm sorry if this has happened in other sessions, you go in and it's just like words everywhere. And you're trying to listen, you're trying to read, it's like, what do I do? So hopefully this one will be very visually pleasing. So each of these, it puts you right under 7 minutes, so it's super fast. I think 20 seconds, it either feels like an eternity or it feels like it's just zip, 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 gone. So we'll give you some grace, presenters here. This should be lots of fun. I've had a little preview, and these look amazing. It's so neat to see what's happening in all of these schools. So we'll just have fun with it. And first we have Elmarie Hyman, and she is from Learn Beyond the Book in California. California girl. So I'll hand the mic to you.
I'll start, and hopefully it goes every 20 seconds.
It goes every 20 seconds.
Okay, this first one's fast. I'm the founder of Learn Beyond the Book. This is my why. This is my 4 children. They are the reason why I started Learn Beyond the Book, and they are now all grown. But now we serve about 500 students, so it ends up growing pretty fast. We really try to keep the love of learning alive in kids because kids really do want to learn. You have to get out of the way. This is a club that we have. The kids learn Pokemon. They learn how to trade cards with a dad who used to play Pokemon in a league. So he wanted to share it. His kids go to the class and to the school, and he wanted to share his love for Pokemon and all things Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and stuff. This is one of our lunch times. All our 3 in-person locations have like a 40-minute lunch. And so the kids have their lunch, and then they play, and they make friends. And this girl is like working on a class project of weaving that she brought along with lunch. So she must have had a great time learning how to weave. These students are enjoying their slime production. We always try to keep everything very hands-on, and this is like as hands-on as it gets. And of course, there's always a nice mess at the end of the day, which is all worth it, but my site managers are my heroes because they clean up all the messes. So I'm really grateful to them. I have had to be that person for a long time. Here's my sewing and knitting handwork teacher who teaches actually from a Waldorf perspective. She used to be a Waldorf teacher, but she ends up coming to us. And this person, I feel, is a magician. She can teach any kid to knit at the age of 6, and they actually love it. They want to just keep coming back to the class. I'm like, wow. I've tried. In our cooking classes, the students actually cut everything. They cook it. We have a holistic nutritionist who ends up doing our cooking classes, and she does gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, everything free, but it actually still tastes good, which is amazing. Which is kind of like, at first I heard it, I was like, eh. Anyways, this is the class ready for eating their creations, and I usually hope for a little bit of piece of leftovers, but not always possible for the waffle days and the banana pudding and all the stuff that she makes. But they make actual food as well. So then we have like tiny engineers here. We focus our kids to learn through play-based, possible as much as possible, especially for the younger kids. And in cases of like our Zoom classes that we have a lot of, the teachers would let the parents know ahead of time what they would need, ahead of time through the Google Classrooms that we have. Here we have a teacher that actually came from a public school background. So we have teachers of all different backgrounds, but she was like so frustrated in the public school, she just really wanted to get out of there. And so now she gets to be creative, but she also still has sometimes her little charts, and she loves it, and the kids love her, and she's the sweetest person ever. So that's the best. At the end of every semester, we have a presentation of learning, where the performance classes kind of show us what they've been working on, in the sewing class and art class, and everybody exhibits everything. Sometimes we even have like a cultural class. Maybe they would dress up and they would actually present their something about their something that they learned about. Roller skating. We have all kinds of interesting classes, kind of unique things. That this mom was a roller derby girl, and she was like, I want to teach the kids to roller skate. So I'm like, yeah, you're awesome, and that's a great idea. so the teachers often call us their happy place because they also get to be creative. This is a Lego robotics class. We have like fun time with that, and they learn engineering and coding through Lego. And then they also have a stop motion animation class that's linked to Lego. So they basically, edit their own little movies and things like that. So that's always fun. We have kids from ages 4 through 18. So this is a teen cooking class. So we actually have classes for kids that are going through community college courses, trying to help them go through it, like support classes. So that's great. But this is a cooking one, which is always fun. This next slide has a lot of things going on, so I don't know why I included this one. There's too many things. So there's a class for sculpting small, making tiny things like pencil toppers and things like that. We have a chess class, a science class, a math class, and then a class that's history through Minecraft. So they learn about a historical person, and then they learn, make something in Minecraft. This is a Zoom class, an art class. So I don't always have as many pictures of the Zoom classes because, they're on Zoom. So this teacher teaches art, and next semester she's going to combine art with language, with like literature books. So I'm very excited about that. And then we have Japanese. A large group of kids really interested in anime, and so they really got into Japanese. And the teachers love to share their culture, so they're like cooking rice, making sushi sometimes writing letters in Japanese. So it's really great. We also have ASL in French and Spanish, and hopefully soon Chinese. So I'm really excited about that. This was one of our other ones that they have a Shakespeare play. The kids all dressed up. They all changed their names to the character that they was in the Shakespeare scenes that they were doing. And they were doing it, through COVID. This was during COVID, actually. So all the teachers became pros real fast during COVID, and they're really great. This kid also is in a Zoom class, as you can see. So he has a Google Classroom tied to the Zoom class, which then gives him like the detail of what he's going to need. His mom prints out the paper, and then they have all the materials ready to actually continue on with the lesson. Parties and social events, super important to me because I'm a social person and I love to dance, so normally involves some dancing. We have parties around the holidays, and we also get potlucks and things like that. So we have a lot of parent lunches and field trips and things for the parents and the kids. And then, of course, we love to dress up for Halloween. These were some of the cutest costumes I've ever seen. We also have people who don't celebrate Halloween. So we always stress that point of we are all, respectful of each other's beliefs, and whatever you do is totally fine. So with everything is kind of like relationship based. So that's what we emphasize that. So thank you for watching.
Does anyone have any quick questions for Marie about her school? You do a little bit of everything. Wow.
Yes, I did.
Any questions?
Where are you located?
We're in California, and then we have all the Zoom classes too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. California, and then Zoom. So with the newest thing that we're doing with Zoom is just custom creating classes for hybrid schools and micro schools. So if you don't have an expert in something like coding or something, you could take one of our Zoom classes, project the person on the wall, and then you can have your students study coding. So stuff like that. So that's our newest thing.
Like 5-day-a-week school or a hybrid school?
We do, well, we're actually not registered as a school. We're like a resource center for homeschoolers is what we technically are, but it's 5 days a week in one location and 4 days in the other locations.
And kids can come as many days as they want.
Yes, as long as they want. So, yes.
The like Japanese and all that, that's included in the price they pay, or like those are enrichments that they receive?
Basically, the classes are all a la carte, so you sign up for whichever ones you want, kind of like a university model where you just pick and choose. So Japanese is one of the classes you could pick. Yeah. Yes.
Did I miss, what is the name of your?
It's called Learn Beyond the Book. Yeah.
All right, did you have a question in the back?
I'm just curious if you have a resource that you recommend for scheduling the a la carte.
Me. A big piece of paper. I actually just figured out the best formula. I made a big piece of paper for each location for every day. Then I pick the teachers that are going to be in multiple places. I fill them in so they don't duplicate on any days. Then I add all the other ones around them. Then I start filling in the classes. And then try to make sure there's not too many of the same age group and the same type of thing in the same time slot. And try to figure out a way to have, like, you know, maybe if it's a high school day where there's high school kids, have multiple things that they can take that day so they don't have to come every single day. So that's my cheat sheet. But that's, yeah, I love scheduling. That's my favorite thing. So I'm glad I do because nobody else seems to like it very much.
Thank you. So next we have Sharon Massinelli.
If you can't hear me, raise your hand. But I talk and I teach, so I'm usually pretty loud, and I have 8 children, so it's impossible for me to whisper. Anyways, okay, so I actually looked at this like what was our history of the schools, and not like our current state. So this is kind of walking you through from the very beginning of our story. So, and please bear with me. I'm not a drama person. Like, I didn't practice this very much, so please forgive me if it's not exactly.
It's like once you press go, you're like,
Yes, then I'm. Okay. All right, so we started in 2019. These are 7 reasons why my husband and I started our hybrid. We were looking for a traditional Catholic education, but we wanted a lot of time with our family. We wanted more time with the family than when they were at school. So these are 7 of the 8 children that I have now. We wanted to open in 2019 when we decided we were going to start a program, and we got an EIN, and we were needing to start a bank account, and it was going to require a minimum of $500, and it turns out that my son, Leo, found $500 cash in a drawer that my late mother had left behind. So we were like, it's a sign from God. So we found a nearby church, and we decided it's time to advertise. And I looked at what the other hybrids were advertising, and they had these full color ads, and this is what we could afford. So we got a tiny little black and white ad, and it actually did the job. So it seemed like we were pretty much on track. I was like, we're ready to go. Let's do open houses. We had our location. We started advertising for these open houses, but we knew we needed at least 5 students minimum in each class. And we weren't sure we were going to make that. We had people who seemed interested, but were we going to get financially there? And so it turns out we did. We started in August of 2019. This was our first school picture. This was during our fun run. And we officially opened with about 47 students. We combined grades so that we could meet that 5 student minimum. So we had, several combined classrooms. With so many small class sizes and the combined grades, we were able to do more, it seemed like. Honestly, it was so small. The students who normally would not have done well in a large classroom seemed to thrive. And it was very homeschool feel to it. And then came 2020, and I actually work in a hospital, so that's my other job. And so I had to do crisis scheduling. So I worked 3 nights a week for every 10 days. And the school's closed, obviously, so it's not like I was going to spend time there anyways. And so I was working in the hospital. And since we were homeschool families, we didn't really want a whole lot of Zoom sessions. We did what we thought was, just enough for everybody to be able to get together. And since we were used to homeschooling 3 days a week, going 5 days of homeschooling really was not much of a stretch. So we did pretty well. So then we started planning for our second year, but then there was a flood in our building because no one was in the building the fire sprinklers went off and nobody knew that they were malfunctioning, and so we had to move in the middle of COVID. And so we had to search for a new location. So I thought we were on the right track, and then it turns out we had to move. But by August of 2021, our previous church building had finished the renovations, so we were able to go back to our first building in our third year. And they had built us a new playground, which was very nice. So those renovations, the flood actually made everything better. So of course, though, these renovations led to inspections, and inspections lead to fire marshals realizing that somebody is holding a school. And they didn't like the idea of school being in a building that only had an assembly certificate. And they said, no, you are a school 2 days a week, therefore you need a certificate of occupancy for education. So we had to get the Institute for Justice to help us, and they said, hey, Georgia has this Learning Pod Protection Act, and so they're protected. You don't have to have a certificate of occupancy for education for this particular group. So Institute for Justice was amazing, and they did their job, and we stayed on. We added lots of school things. We added school pictures, we had yearbooks, we had free hearing screenings, larger library, Chromebook rentals. I mean, it was just anything that we could add in. By the fourth year, we were on a roll. And so we wanted a higher level of accreditation to go along with that. So we decided, let's go for Cognia. This is the timeline. As you can see, it took us a little while. We started in September 2022, and it wasn't until November 2023 that we were able to get approved for the accreditation. It was a lot of meetings, a lot of work and effort, and it was, in the end, definitely worth it. Our fifth year, this shows how our growth of students occurred, and by the fifth year, we kind of leveled off. We were definitely going to stay in micro school. We were purposely not growing, and we had a clarified mission. We were devoting our efforts to focusing on the small classroom sizes and the students there individually. We believe in rewarding the students. We do as much as possible to try to make them feel like this is a place we want them to be. So we have honor roll and all the usual things. We have student council. Even the kindergartners get to vote for our student council members. They go to the little tablets and they vote. Field day. Field day is our biggest event of the year. We have the very last day of school. It's the best ending. We have Italian ice trucks. We have face painting. It is scavenger hunts throughout the entire school building. And it's like the perfect day for all the students. And of course, they love being outside all the time. But being outside is also still part of our program just in general, because our families are mostly homeschoolers. They don't want their children inside a building 7 hours a day being forced to sit in a classroom. They prefer our outdoor playtime. So we're out on the playground a lot, and that's one of our core concepts as well. Our accreditation process allowed us to realize the things we did well and the things that we needed to improve on, and really focusing on that mission. So we really felt like accreditation showed us some things that we needed to improve on, and then also to expand the things that we knew we were already doing well. And so for any of those of you who are here that are uncertain whether or not you want to start a micro school, or if you're uncertain about your future in a hybrid or micro school, my advice is just keep going. It seems like it's difficult, and definitely the journey is not easy, but it's rewarding for sure. So, and I highly recommend it. So.
This is Jill Haskins. Jill is from Streams of Hope Christian School. Wait, where is that?
In Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Indiana, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Jill Haskins. I'm the Executive Director of Streams of Hope Christian School in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm a classroom teacher. I'm the Executive Director, and I'm also an ecosystem builder in Indiana. I'm a former public school teacher and former homeschool mom. I have 3 kids, and my husband Shane, and my youngest son did not homeschool well, which is why we got into micro schooling. We have mixed age classrooms, 1st through 12th grade. We're a non-accredited private school in Indiana. We have flexible enrollment options, 5 full day or half days, online homeschool consulting and programs, and a 2-day hybrid. I do have a staff of 8. I have 3 full-time teachers. I'm the only licensed teacher on our staff. That slide will be coming up soon, I hope. There we go. I have 3 assistants. Fun fact, this guy here is my 18-year-old son who I hired on as an assistant. He graduated in November. I have 12 part-time teachers that teach our afternoon enrichment classes as well. So I have quite a large staff. Like I mentioned, I am an ecosystem builder. I am a community connector for VELA, and I'm also the Indiana field coordinator for the National Microschooling Center. And when I started this work in June of this past year, we had about 4 schools identified in Indiana, and now we have close to 50 identified. I'm also helping launch, well, I'm not launching, but I'm helping founders launch schools in the fall. Working with about 20 or so launching in the fall in the state of Indiana. That work is, for as much as I love the micro school, I also really love the ecosystem building work. It's super exciting to see it growing in Indiana. And Indiana is a great school choice state with tons of freedom. I really want you guys to hear the story of Streams of Hope from my kids. This is Cohen, he's in 5th grade. And he said that he feels less stress and more freedom at Streams of Hope. We focus on individualized instructions, which these kids are nuts. They sit in their little desks with their little checklists, and they love it. I don't know why, but they do. This is Caitlin. She has some profound learning needs, and she has taken extra time, and we have determined her graduation pathway. It's not a traditional pathway, but she's going to graduate with a diploma, which is amazing. We have Will next, also with some profound learning needs. And his quote was, "I was 2 years behind and felt like I couldn't catch up, but now I feel like I'm actually learning. This school has helped me succeed, and I think I'm actually going to be able to graduate." I love that. This is Forrest. He's our flighty little genius. He's in 3rd grade. He is so bright, and he just thinks it's the best thing ever that he is learning division in 3rd grade, and he thinks that there's nobody else in this world that does. I love him. He is our goofy. If you see his little face there, he is hilarious. This is Brecken. Brecken is in 9th grade. His word that he chose is potential. And he said, "This school has helped me see my potential when I didn't see it in myself. I'm going to be a pilot." And you know what? This kid is going to be a pilot. And I tell him to remember dear Mrs. Haskins when he's flying. This is Hollister. Hollister is actually on a track to be a professional hockey player. His parents have chosen Streams of Hope because he is 5 days half day, and he can take his school on the road while he's traveling with hockey. Also, again, I tell him to remember dear Mrs. Haskins when he's rich and famous. And he just rolls his eyes at me. This is Zeke. This face on Zeke did not exist when he first came to us. He cried all the time. He was, just depressed and sad. He hated everything about school. And this is Zeke at Streams of Hope. This is why we do the work that we do. I know this is not a lone story. This is Tyler. He says that Streams of Hope is eye-opening. His picture does not show that. But he came to us failing from public school. He had no idea why he was failing. When he came to us, we were like, "Oh, you are dyslexic." We got him evaluated. That kid is profoundly dyslexic, and we've been able to meet his needs where he's at. Delancey, this is my daughter's best friend. She is 9th grade, and she just feels like she has so much support at Streams of Hope. We can slow things down, speed things up for her, work at her pace and her level as she's thriving. This is Jacob. He is my success story. This kid and I threw down, and I actually had an assistant that had to step in because we thought he was going to punch me. He was going to be expelled last year, and he has turned it around because he feels safe and he feels loved, and he walks out of that school building every day telling me he loves me. He is my success story. This is Bella. When she came to us, she was 3 grade levels behind, and her quote is, "When I came, I could barely read and write. Now I've moved a grade ahead and I'm consistent in my work. She is actually on track to graduate early. She's currently doing 9th grade work as an 8th grader, and she never thought she'd get there. This is Ellis. She's my best friend's daughter. I was at her birth. She has some significant mental health struggles that have been so difficult to see her walking through. But she has persevered, and she chose the word unwavering aid because we have walked alongside her. We have lightened her load when she just could not do it. And this is Allie. She came to us. She is also a huge success story. Started us in 5th grade. She was suicidal because she was being bullied, has significant learning disabilities, and here she is leading chapel. This is a kid, when she was born, her parents told her she would never walk or talk. And she's here, and she's on track to graduate early. This is why we do what we do. This is why our schools are so important. This is why the ecosystem building is so important. This work is not easy. I have spent more days crying than I've not. This is why we do what we do, though. We can look at these kids and we can say, this is success.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so many families bring their children out of public school because after going through jumping through all the hoops, getting all the testing, their children still aren't learning.
Yeah.
Or the bullying, the environment, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
So when a micro school starts, I think sometimes they're like, okay, we're going to help struggling learners. They don't have enough staff.
Mhm.
So you would mention, oh, I have a lot of staff, but that's what I wanted to hear. I love what you're doing. But what did that look like when they first came to your school and you were figuring out what that child needs? How many staff are 100% of your students struggling learners? That would be part of it.
Mhm.
And how many staff to child ratio do you have?
That's a great question. We have a high proportion of students who are struggling learners. Quite a few of them have service plans from the public school district. Our accommodations just come naturally to us anyways. We sit through the case conferences and I'm like, oh, yeah, we do that too. We do that too. Right now, our student to staff ratio is a little bit lower than I'd like. We have 37 private school enrolled kids. That's half day and full day, 5-day kids. We have 3 classroom teachers, including myself. I would like us to be at about 60, but it does depend on the student need. My 1st through 4th grade class, I am not going to pack that class out because it's just too much. Those kids they're not independent. Our afternoon classes is about a 20-to-1 ratio. We open those classes up to homeschool kids, and it works just fine. It's enrichment, it's hands-on. The most students that I've had in my classroom is 25, and that's way too many. 20 is kind of the sweet spot. Right now, currently, I'm at 18. That's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
in the mornings you do the
academic.
studies,
Mhm.
math and language, and the afternoon you do enrichment.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
so the kids can go 5 days a week.
Mhm.
How are you guys able to run and compare to local brick and mortar private schools? Because I know in this area the brick and mortar private schools, they're really expensive.
Yeah. So we are currently raising our tuition. For 5 full days, we're at $5,000 a year. For 5 half days, we're at $42.25 a year. And then we have some additional fees and things like that. It's not sustainable long term. We're going to have to raise it.
You said 5 days, 5,000
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insanely affordable. We might have people moving to Indiana.
Indiana is a very inexpensive state to live in. I will tell you, we don't pay our teachers super well, and this is part of the problem. I am not making a livable wage as the executive director and a classroom teacher. So this is the challenge, and I'm trying to get my teachers more money. We're a ministry of a church, though, so this is some of the hard stuff that we face, is that I don't really necessarily have control over it. The church decides these things. But I'm trying desperately to raise our tuition so that we can pay our teachers a livable wage. One of the key components for us, because we're not accredited, we can't accept school choice scholarships for vouchers, but we can accept ESA funds. So I am all about let's get that universal ESA, and that way every student would be guaranteed at least $6,000 to cover tuition. So then we could raise our prices to $8,000 or $9,000, still be cheaper than what they're paying now.
You do need to raise prices.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I like what he said in that earlier session, that is so true. Start higher, because when you start to
Yep.
raise, everybody.
Yes, they freak out. Yep.
Just a quick question, I heard you use the term ecosystem building. It's not one I'm familiar with, I can kind of guess my way forward. I would like to hear exactly what do you mean by ecosystem.
So I just work with other micro school leaders and founders, and we're sharing resources, we're supporting each other, we're brainstorming and problem solving together. I work with the National Microschooling Center and VELA to identify potential founders who are starting and opening schools, and then I'm helping them in conjunction with VELA and National Microschooling Center to get micro schools up and running. The more options that we have, the more students we're serving, and that's the ultimate goal of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
This is just particular to VELA. Is that only for LLCs or is that for 501c3s as well?
That is a great question. Serena, do you know?
You know what? I think it is.
I'm with Bayla. Happy to chat with you after about this.
All right, we have one more. Rachel Freever, Integrative Learning Academy.
Integrative Learning Academy is a Christ-centered K-6 micro school. We began in 2020 out of the necessity for my own child who has autism that was going into kindergarten that year, and just realized it was not going to be a good fit for him to be online. I am a former educator and just realized that I could do something better for him. So, oh, there it goes. It is. Okay, perfect. So we are an inclusive model, and we support both neurodiverse and neurotypical students. We combine the best parts of Reggio Emilia, Montessori, and just a lot of different models that we combine. We believe that the classroom is the third teacher, so everything in our classroom is student created. As you can see, we've got calendars and all of our posters, everything, our alphabet that you can see they created with loose parts and scanned it. So everything is their student touch. We intentionally decorate our classroom so that our students feel a sense of belonging and family. We want them to look on the walls, and we want them to see themselves represented everywhere, just like if it were their own home. So you're going to see birthday canvases where when it's their birthday, they get to design a special birthday canvas to the birthday wall with their pictures on it. Every day, students are given time to complete chores and responsibilities, cleaning, wiping up things, sweeping. They take care of the chickens and the other pets that we have. And we rotate through. They have an older and a younger. We're a multi-age group, so the olders and the youngers help each other. We utilize project-based hands-on learning to foster inquiry. And so in the morning, we focus on reading and writing, and then in the afternoons is when students do deep dives into projects. They typically last between 4 and 8 weeks, and they culminate with a showcase for our families. Through STEM investigations, we are able to engage building and designing projects where they work together and create flexible thinking, and they often complement our inquiry units, which is really cool, so it just gives like an extra facet to what they're learning. We have found a balance in combining personalized mastery-based computer literacy programs and math programs with the science of best practices with teacher-led practices for reading and math. So this means that we tailor fit our programs to meet our students' needs. James, this is Jenna's son right here. We provide a range of therapies throughout our day. So we have feeding therapy at the end, we have OT, we have speech, we have ABA, we provide music therapy, and the sessions are thoughtfully planned out so they don't interrupt or interfere with the learning content. And then at the heart of our inclusive program is developing a whole child through an integrative approach. So this includes multisensory activities, developing both sides of the brain through crossing the midline, retained reflex work, and all of these activities are just woven throughout our day. And then we directly teach social emotional skills, and we also just embed them in our day. Student-led peacekeeper meetings allow a practical application of these skills in a real-life setting, while daily emotional check-ins through journal writing provide a safe place for them to express their thoughts and their feelings.
Yeah, and as Rachel said, this is my son, James, and he has autism and epilepsy. And so throughout the day, we were able to normalize fidgets, weighted blankets, vibrating tools, compression vests, and headphones, and all different sensory tools just to allow all the students to be able to regulate their bodies, and so they can focus on learning and not be dysregulated trying to do so. And then students also have flexible seating, so they can choose if they want to sit on a wobble seat, a bouncy ball, lay on the floor, sit on the couch, sit at the table, whatever learning environment works best for them for that activity at that time is where they can choose, again, to focus on their learning. And then we also embed like fine motor and sensory into everything that we do. So you can see lots of different sensory tables, sensory activities, fine motor, sewing, making the Play-Doh, nailing into the pumpkin. So these activities are available during free time and then also before school. And then we also have therapy dogs. So we have 2 therapy dogs and then 2 therapy bunnies. So the therapy dogs allow for the kids to have some emotional support and regulation, release their anxiety. So this is Maddox.
That's my son, Lincoln with autism.
Yep, and then Jolene over there. Then we also allow risk-taking, so allowing the students to take risks, develop their confidence, and also that increases their core strength and their body awareness and control, even if sometimes risk-taking means they fall and they break their arm, which my son did. But that's part of building that risk-taking confidence, core strength. And then we also do life skills. So applying life skills into the day, we allow them to use knives to cut things, the blender, the hot stove, all the different things to create and just learn how to do these things safely with supervision. And then also a lot of our students struggle with the executive function skills. So this is built in throughout our day with picture schedules, daily schedules. They make their own schedules so they know what's coming up. And then that all of this that we do allows them to focus on their learning. So they know what's coming up and their cognitive load is lessened because they already know. They can look at a picture and see. And then we also have multi-age classrooms. So they have younger students helping older students, and they're always working alongside each other and helping each other, learning from each other. The younger ones can teach the older ones can teach the younger ones throughout the day. And then we also have enrichment outside of the normal classroom. And so we have all different opportunities throughout the week, such as PE, Spanish, run club, music, coding, robotics, entrepreneurship. And so they get to apply different life skills and have different experiences other than just academics. And then once a month, we also go on field trips. So we go to school Monday through Thursday, and once a month on Friday, we have field trips that align with our unit of study that we've been going over. And then that also allows for community and family because the parents bring the kids on the field trips. So then we're all together as one big family. So thank you for taking time to learn about it.
Any questions for our final group?
Did you utilize parent help? Or do you find it's better the parents aren't there?
I have in the past utilized parent help. I do find I have to do a lot of training, especially when it's like core subjects. We were working with students that have dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, so it does take a little bit more specialized training for that. But absolutely, and especially for things like PE, enrichment programs, yeah, definitely. I don't always compensate them for it though. It's just a volunteer. Yeah, just volunteer. Yeah.
So this appears to be in like one of your homes.
Yes, my house.
So
Yes.
it looks like it's in like the majority of the house. I guess just like how do you create the boundaries between like school space and like your living space?
There's no boundary. There's no boundary. My entire first floor is the school, and my husband graciously gave up his office this year to dedicate that space to a therapy room so that when the therapists come, we have a quiet space for them. So my entire first floor is the school, and my husband works upstairs in a closet. Our living space is upstairs. We share a kitchen and all that, and then it's just frantic cleaning and trying to make sure everything's prepared and organized for the next day. So 4 years. Yeah. We're trying to find a property, but we all know that that's hard. So yeah.
You had mentioned a peacekeeper meeting.
Yeah.
Is that a program or is that just
No,
being
it's
public, or-
yeah. So it's just the idea. I heard someone mention it before, and I just loved it. And I don't know if I do it the same way, but students will bring something to our attention, like, "Hey, we're having this issue with some students. We don't know how to resolve it. We've tried this, this, and this. Can we call a peacekeeper meeting?" So then I will sit in on that peacekeeper meeting, and everyone that is involved in that will sit in a circle, and we just talk about it. I let them run the meeting, and I just facilitate, and it's a place where we talk about what's going on, and we use, a language to work things out, because we live in a community, and that's what I tell them. We live in community, and the problems that you're having right now in school are the same problems you're going to have when you have coworkers in a job, and so I'm able to really help them work through these and make amends if that's needed, and we work through that process. Because I think building relationships and maintaining relationships means sometimes they break, and then what do we do to fix them, and how do we model that for children? So it's something that they call, and I just facilitate.
What age or grade do you go to?
Kinder through 6. Thank you.
Yes, it is.